Come on, you!
Whoa, not so fast!
Stop resisting!
I'm trying!
This is you. You aren't born to a spiritual legacy, but into the dirt of the lower valleys, choking on the exhaust of helicopters, ferrying tourists to their vanity projects. You don't even have photos of your family, just a blurry memory of death that echoes in your nightmares and pushes you to do crazy things. Forget the prayer flags. Forget the holy mother goddess crap. Everest isn't a temple. It's a sadistic meat grinder, a towering slaughterhouse of blue ice and black rock. You are here because the bank threatened to repossess your shack. You owe $50,000 to a ruthless outfitter who owns your life. In this hyper-commercialized underworld of extreme alpinism, you are just cheap, disposable muscle. Your client is a hedge fund psychopath, a guy with a fortune to burn and a desperate need to conquer something because his boardroom victories aren't enough. He looks at you like you are a pack mule. You look at him like he's a walking corpse. You don't climb. You assault the mountain. The Khumbu icefall isn't a natural wonder, it's a frozen minefield of shifting seracs ready to crush you into red paste. You move fast, frantic, tactical, crampons biting into aluminum ladders suspended over bottomless voids. You carry twice your body weight in oxygen cylinders and Kevlar tents, moving with violent efficiency. The client gasps, popping amphetamines, his eyes wide with a synthetic adrenaline rush. You haul him up the ropes, your muscles burning like battery acid. There is no reverence here. In this frozen world, there are only two options: live fighting like a demon or die in silence like a saint. Kick, swing, pull, breathe. You break through the western Khumbu. The sun reflects off the glacial basin, frying your retinas behind your polarized goggles. You don't stop. You push higher, driving your ice axe into the vertical glass of the Lhotse face. Every swing is a declaration of war against the altitude. You hit the South Col, the death zone, 26,000 feet. The air is so thin it feels like inhaling razor blades. This is where human biology violently self-destructs. Your body goes into a catabolic frenzy, literally digesting its own muscle tissue to keep your heart pumping. Blood thickens into toxic sludge. Capillaries in your eyes burst, turning your sclera a demonic red. The cold doesn't just bite, it amputates. It hunts for exposed skin, freezing cellular water and turning toes into black necrotic lumps. You check the client. His expensive Gore-Tex suit is covered in frozen vomit. He's shivering so hard his teeth are chipping. You slap his oxygen regulator, cranking it to maximum flow. Time to move. It's midnight. The wind screams like a jet engine. You clip your ascender to the frayed fix line, stepping into the chaotic conga line of doom. The route to the balcony is jammed. Dozens of amateur climbers, blinded by ego, dangle from the ropes like frozen meat on hooks. They are selfish, frost-bitten zombies. They stumble, they stall, they block the only path up. You wait on a terrifying 70-degree incline of sheer ice. The screaming barfies hit your hands. It's a visceral, nauseating agony, like boiling oil being injected directly into your veins as blood forces its way back into frozen fingers. You grit your teeth until your gums bleed. You look up. The client suddenly stops. His brain is swelling. High-altitude cerebral edema, HACE. The pressure inside his skull is crushing his frontal lobe. Blood starts pouring from his nose, freezing instantly into red icicles on his oxygen mask. He rips the mask off, his eyes rolling back in his head. He starts screaming at hallucinations, violently thrashing on the precipice. He grabs his ice axe. He doesn't see his ice axe as a tool, but as a weapon. He isn't a climber anymore. He's a rabid animal trapped in the death zone, and he's swinging the razor-sharp adze right at your face. You dodge the wild swing. The steel blade sparks against the limestone inches from your skull. You tackle him against the icy face. He fights with hysterical, oxygen-starved strength, punching your ribs. You drive your knee into his thigh, pinning him to the snow. You force the mask over his bleeding mouth, but it's useless. His brain is a swollen, bleeding sponge. He is dead weight and dangerous. The unwritten law of the mountain is absolute. Leave the weak to die. Around you, other climbers step over his convulsing body. They kick snow in his face, their eyes locked in a sociopathic trance on the summits. This is Rainbow Valley, a neon-colored graveyard of frozen corpses. Any sane guide would unclip, take the client's remaining oxygen, and abandon him to the elements. But you can't. If he dies, the outfitter voids your contract. Your family loses everything. You aren't saving him out of nobility. You're extracting a high-value asset to save your own life. It's a desperate, high-stakes extraction mission. You grab a coil of static rope. You wrap it violently around his harness, lashing his limp, heavy torso directly to your back. You stand up. The sheer weight crushes your spine. Your knees buckle, cartilage grinding against bone. You force yourself forward, launching into a frantic, chaotic descent. It is a terrifying gauntlet. The mountain actively tries to murder you. The weather turns. A brutal, blinding whiteout slams into the ridge. Visibility drops to zero. You are navigating by pure, lethal instinct. You reach the Hillary step. A bottleneck of desperate climbers is clawing their way up. They see you coming down with a body, taking up the only rope. They scream at you. One climber, panicked and blinded by hypoxia, tries to unclip your carabiner from the safety line to get past you. He is actively trying to kill you for 3 feet of rope. You don't hesitate. You kick out with your heavy mountaineering boot. Your razor-sharp crampon spikes bite deep into his shoulder. He screams, backing off in shock. You are ruthless. You have to be. A good guide isn't the one who enjoys the mountain, but the one who feels nothing when it tries to kill him. You rappel down the sheer drop, the client's dead weight yanking you backward with every step. The friction on the figure-8 device is so intense the metal sears through your insulated gloves, burning your palms. Blood blisters form and pop instantly. You ignore the searing flesh. You hit the south summit and keep plunging down into the roaring dark. The descent turns into a hyperkinetic freefall. You are practically running down the trial face, sliding wildly on the slick blue ice, using your ice axe as a frantic brake. Sparks fly as titanium scrapes against exposed rock. The client's crampons catch on a hidden ledge. The sudden, violent jerk snaps the main line connecting him to your harness. You hear the sickening sound of braided nylon tearing. You are catapulted forward. You plunge your ice axe into the wall with all your strength. The pick bites deep. Your shoulder dislocates with a horrific pop. Searing, blinding agony explodes in your joint. You dangle by one arm over a 10,000-foot drop into the Kangshung face. The client is swinging below you, held only by a secondary, fraying safety tether. He wakes up from his stupor. The pain and altitude have driven him entirely insane. He starts kicking wildly, screaming that you are trying to murder him. His violent thrashing sends shockwaves up the rope, threatening to rip your axe out of the ice. You scream at him to stop, but the roaring wind swallows your voice. You look up. A deafening crack echoes through the storm. A massive serac, the size of a 5-story building, has fractured above you. Thousands of tons of ice and pulverized snow detach from the ridge, accelerating down the mountain like a freight train. An avalanche! You have 3 seconds to react. You pop your shoulder back into its socket by slamming it against the ice wall, screaming in agony. You unclip your Jumar, abandoning the fixed line entirely. You kick off the wall, diving into a narrow vertical ice chute, just as the avalanche hits. The world turns violently white. It is a sensory overload of crushing pressure and roaring thunder. You are buried, tumbling in a washing machine of concrete hard snow. Ice chunks the size of cars smash past you. You pull your arms to your face, creating a tiny air pocket, expecting every second to be your last, waiting for your spine to snap under the weight of the mountain. The violent tumbling stops. You are buried alive. The silence is sudden and terrifying. Your lungs burn, desperate for oxygen. You punch upward with your good arm, breaking through the crust. You drag yourself out into the howling storm, coughing up blood and frozen saliva. You look down. The client is still attached to you, but he isn't moving. The rope is pulled taut, disappearing over the edge of a massive, newly formed crevasse. You crawl to the edge and peer into the bottomless blue abyss. He is dangling 30 feet down, unconscious, his expensive down suit shredded by the ice. The rope is grinding against the razor-sharp edge of glacial ice. Strand by strand, the nylon is slicing open. You dig your crampons into the slope. You grab the rope with your bloody, frostbitten hands and pull. Your muscles scream, veins bulge in your neck, but the ice gives way. You slide forward, drag toward the lip of the crevasse. You slam your ice axe down, but it bounces off solid rock. There is no purchase, no anchor, just slick, roofless gravity. The outfitter's money doesn't matter. The debt doesn't matter. In this frozen slaughterhouse, the only currency is survival. The rope shreds further. Only the core strands remain. The client's weight is dragging you both into the void. You look up at the summit, barely visible through the raging blizzard. It looks like a jagged set of teeth smiling at your futile struggle. You reach to your harness. You draw your climbing knife. The steel blade glints in the pale light. You realize the brutal truth. Survival instinct is stronger than duty. The mountain always wins. You are just a temporary glitch in its sadistic design. You look down into the abyss one last time. You bring the knife to the taut rope, and you slice. The tension snaps violently. The heavy weight vanishes into the darkness without a sound. You collapse backward into the snow, the severed rope whipping your face. You lie there as the storm buries you, staring up at the unforgiving sky. You saved yourself, but you are a ghost. You will never leave this mountain.